Welcome to my beginner's guide to gold. Gold is one of the multiple currencies in this game. You can see at any point how much do you have in your wallet, or just from the main hub is right here at the top. The maximum amount of gold that you can hold depends on the level and rarity of one of your followers, Ori. You get her after chapter number 6, but in order to get her crystals, her side quest doesn't become available until you complete chapter 10. So it takes a little while before you can upgrade her. When you start the game, your maximum gold capacity will be 10%, and at maximum level, which is mythical level 50, she increases that amount by an additional 50,000. So the total is 60,000. Now, as you can see right now, I have 62,000, and the reason why is that I just got from the Kingdom Defense rewards some gold. Now, this is something that allows you to store gold above your maximum amount if you keep some of your rewards right here before or without opening them or collecting them. If they have gold or ore or some resource that has a maximum amount, you can store them for a couple days and then open them when you need them. And this is quite useful when you start because you have the weekly, let's see, shards and glyphs right here. The weekly glyph for 30,000 gold. I believe that this becomes available when you get a hero to level 50 or when you complete the story mode for the first time. But as I said, requires 30,000 gold. So maybe if your maximum amount is not that much, you want to save those rewards so you can get over the maximum. And also once per week you can buy spell pages in exchange for gold. This costs 5,000 and you can buy it 5 times, but it's not 25,000, it's 5,000 each one, so you can easily buy it. Now there is another follower that is important for gold, which is Elira. She produces passively gold per hour, but she can only store 1 hour worth of gold. And this is at maximum level, level 50, mythical, as you can see. Now, this is really a drop in the ocean, and the other problem is that gold is usually only a problem when you start playing the game. Later on, if you watch my videos, you will see that 99% of the time I'm already capped, unless I'm spending something at the moment. And Elira, unfortunately, she is the 14th follower you unlock, which means that you unlock her after chapter 14, which is almost at the end of story mode. But she also gives you a passive gold bonus of half her level, which is always good to have. Another way to increase your gold income is in your citadel under the light magic tab. Here you can increase your gold bonus. I think it's 0.2% per level, but I honestly don't recommend it. I think that the healing boost is going to help you more when you start, and later on just invest in your masteries. That is what is going to give you the best bang for your buck. So you're starting, you have your first character. How can you get gold? Well, there are a few pieces of equipment that can increase the amount of gold that you receive from battles. The problem is that one of them is the Buccaneer set, that has a few items that can increase your gold. For example, the baldric, which is the belt. When making a column match, increase gold bonus. And the set bonus increases the amount of gold bonus at the start of the fight. However, this is just a very small amount. Even at mythical, you can only gain 1% per yellow gem, and then at the start of the fight, average number is going to be 8 yellow gems. So yeah, 8% additional gold doesn't make that much of a difference. And the second problem is that this Buccaneer set is unlocked in the Archive Season 2.4, which by the time that you can farm this season, you probably don't need the extra gold. Now, some of the pieces of this set are interesting to use, especially the pants, but if you want more details on that, please watch my Buccaneer set video. Another piece of equipment that can help you when you start is the Kasduli helm. This is in season 1.1, and this is a helm that many new players want for their barrier, but it also increases your gold from battles. It gives you a percentage depending on the rarity of the item. At mythical is 25%, and it's, I believe, 20% for legendary, 15% for epic, and 10% for rare, if I remember correctly, which is a good help. I mean, it's not the main reason why you want to use the Kasduli helm, but it's also going to increase your gold. However, again, that is another item that you can only get in the archive and cannot be crafted, just like the Buccaneer set. So those are a bit rare to obtain, or not so easy to obtain as a new player. However, what is much easier to obtain as a new player, because you can craft it as well as find it, is the Guard's Belt. Right here, this one. Gain, again, this one is mythic, 50% gold from battle if you win in less than 15 turns. Now, 15 turns, if you cannot win in 15 turns, you're definitely biting more than you can chew. Most fights should take 2, maybe 3 turns. If it's taking longer than that, you're definitely trying to fight at a level you're not strong enough to beat. So 50% additional battle is not a small amount. And as I said, this is a belt that you can craft. I have also a legendary that gives 40% gold, and I believe the epic one gives 30%, and you can craft an epic belt for very, very, very cheap. If I remember correctly, it's only 20 ether. Let's have a look. Belt, yeah. Yeah, it's only 20 ether. I mean, it's 1,150 ore and 100 gems, but still, it's quite cheap. And I'm not sure if here, yeah, 30% for the epic one. So if you really, really need it, this is one option. Obviously, another option is to use a mercenary. The mercenary special, unique, ultimate ability generates greed gems, and the greed gems, or excuse me, the treasure gems, when you activate them, you destroy them, and they increase your gold bonus. However, again, when you start the game, charging the ultimate spell is gonna take a while. So yes, if you start with a mercenary, this is great. But again, by the time you can consistently cast the spell and get the benefit from this, you're probably not going to need that much gold. Anyway, now, what is the best place to find gold? Well, whenever you salvage a chest, you get a small amount of gold. This is a ruby chest, and this amount of gold is independent from the chest level. For a ruby chest, you get 50 gold. For a diamond chest, you get 100 gold. I think it's 25 for a gold chest and 15 and 10 or something like that. It's a small amount, but again, if you're salvaging 100 chests, it's gonna add up in the end. But either way, the best way to do this is, and for this I also recommend you watch my video on farming story mode, because yes, the best way to get gold is to farm story mode. Again, when you're starting, your options are going to be quite limited. You won't be able to farm the whole story mode with a new character. You will probably only be able to do chapter 1 or maybe chapter 1 and 2. That's okay. Just create a new a new character, do 1 or 2 chapters, whatever you can do comfortably, destroy it, create a new one, rinse and repeat. Don't worry about it. But anyway, let me show you. This is the Puzzle Quest 3 Story Rewards guide from the Throne of Odin. As I always say in my videos, if you haven't joined the Discord, please do so. It's a great community, and you will have access to many great guides, like for example this one. And as you can see here, for the full run of all 15 chapters, you will get almost 20,000 gold. Now, this is gold rewards. This is not including the gold that you get from the fights. This is just additional rewards that you get. In story mode, you don't get chests, so you cannot salvage them, but let's say, for example, that you can only do chapter 1 because you're not strong enough to go any further. Well, you're gonna get 1300 gold just by doing chapter 1, just by doing these fights, which is a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 fights, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, plus whatever you get from the fights themselves. But also, every time you complete a chapter, you can go to the tavern and you can do your follower sub-quests or side quests. Now, the first time you do the side quests for each one of your followers, you will get certain rewards, including gems and follower crystals. The first time you do it with each class, so you can and should do it 7 times, 1 for each class. However, after you've already done it, you can do these fights again, but they will no longer give you those rewards. They will give you gold. And again, it's a small amount of gold, but remember that doing one of these fights is going to give you a chest that you can salvage and get a little bit more gold. At the end of the day, it comes down to how fast you can get gold. There are no ways to get lots of gold. It's just getting relatively small amounts of gold very quickly, so they add up. And if you watch my video on farming story mode, in that video I recommended the Nightblade Assassin, or just a similar build, so you can farm also the 5000 ultimate skill casts, which I also have a video on. But another option that you can use is to use, let me change this, to use some spells that will allow you to quickly finish the fights. Now, one important thing, as you can see, and this one is level 50. This is my test character that I'm using to farm story mode. Right now I'm on chapter 13, and when I finish this run, I will destroy it and create a new one. And as you can see, he's already in chapter 13, and I only have a level 10 defense scroll and a level 10 utility scroll. I don't care about the offense scroll. And he also has a level 10 spell book. Now, theoretically, I could do it with less than this, and definitely if you want to farm gold, you don't want to spend gold on upgrading the spellbook and scrolls. That doesn't make much sense. But the important thing here is that your physical damage is going to depend a lot on your offense scroll. For example, as you can see, this weapon gives me 38 melee damage because I have a level 1 scroll. This same weapon with my main character, who has a level 50 scroll, deals 9,345 melee damage. And this is not maxed out. As you can see, this is still there is still some room for improvement. So that's the reason why when you do story mode runs, you either have to invest in the offense scroll for a new character. Again, you will have to spend gold and shards, or you can go for an elemental build, such as the Night Blade. But let's say that you're a new player, you don't have good equipment for the Night Blade build, or you just hate assassins for some reason. Well, there is another option, and that is just equip 4 spells that are cheap. Just as simple as that. So you can use 4 different spells from 4 different colors. Again, I'm assuming as a new player you are not going to have good equipment, you are not going to have good masteries, you're just starting, so look for cheap spells. When I say cheap, what do I mean? Well, for example, Ice Storm is going to deal ice damage and it's only going to cost 100 mana. Now, please note that this spell is going to deal 844 ice damage and that my physical damage is 149. Again, because I have a level 1 attack scroll. But you can, for example, equip this one. For red, you can equip, for example, Burning Hands. I think it costs, okay, it's 135. That is a little bit more expensive. Let's see. Blast of Corruption. Yeah, it deals fire damage. 110 mana. Okay, that seems cheap enough. For purple, maybe you can equip Vampiric Touch is 125. Okay, not extremely cheap, but Den of Nightmares is also 125. Autumn Blast 140. Creeping Terror 130. Okay, yeah, I'm going to keep this one. And finally, let's say green. For green, a cheap spell that can deal some damage is Poison Spray, for example, 110 mana. Again, it's going to depend on your build, but the idea with this is that depending on how the board starts, you will probably be able to focus on one of the 4 colors, just work on getting that very cheap spell filled out, And with any of these 4 spells, as you can see, deal 2100 damage, deal 1000, almost 400, 1700, and this one is a bit under 1000. But with this, you should be able to do, I don't know, chapters 1, 2, 3, probably, which is better than having to equip a physical weapon and use a physical build. Also use those spells that you get from your class. So for example, this one is a shaman, and poisonous toads, okay, is 120, so it's a little bit higher than poison spray, but still is on the cheap side. Anything that is 120 or lower is relatively cheap when you start to work on something like this. And that's my video on gold. If it was helpful, please like, comment, subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.